Crisis report. It is December 17th, or at least it was, 2025. We are brought to you by Augusta Precious Metals. We appreciate you being here. And we'd like to thank everybody for supporting the channel. Tonight we're going to be talking about a lot of different things. We're going to be talking about the Trump speech. We're going to be talking about Venezuela. We're going to be talking about financials and everything at the end. I like to end on that kind of stuff. We're going to be talking about a good amount of stuff. So we appreciate you. If you could hit that like button, do the subscribe thing, darken out the bell, that would be wonderful. Maybe you could even hype the video. That'd be great too. So let's get started on all of this. And I think we're going to be seeing inflation coming because of stimulus and everything else, but that's because everybody is not doing well. So I'll start off with a anecdotal thing, a couple different things. First and foremost, a restaurant I used to work for, they're not doing well to the point where they're going out and they're asking for help on public and social media, which I don't advise doing, but it means that they're in a problematic space. And then another thing, my wife went to a business today or yesterday, I think in the last couple of days. And this business, she's like, it's super cute. It was a clothing business. It really had a lot of potential, but the prices were too high, and you know, it was a boutique store, and this is not a time for boutique stores. And basically, at this point, it's only been open for a month, and it's already closing its doors. And a young lady tried to start it. She followed her dreams, and you know, you feel bad for her, but it is what it is. Like it's not, things are not doing great out there. So yeah. So anyway, that kind of gives you a summary of where things are now. Inflation and everything, I know things take time. I know, you know, Trump started his speech tonight by saying he inherited a mess. That is not untrue, you know. There are a lot of problems out there, but people are hoping for relief, and people don't really have patience right now. So I guess we'll just have to see where it goes. We are going to start this thing off by praying for a person. His name's Paul, and he is getting ready to undergo a journey through trying to fight against cancer. And I've prayed to this man. I've gotten to talk to him once, and his wife sends me things. And he's getting ready to take on a pretty big battle. So these are good people, and they pray for me, and I'm praying for them. So if you guys could pray for Paul and just say, hey, you know, God, help him fight this thing and get through it, that would be a really cool gesture. You know, we've done prayer requests and all that before, but this would be really appreciated. These are very good people, and I would hope that you could just take a moment and just kind of talk to God or whoever you talk to and just say, hey, you know, can you give this man some relief, or you know, give him the strength to fight through this and to make it. That would be really cool. Okay. All right, let's get started. Here you go. This is your crisis report for December 17th, 2025. Trump's speech in a nutshell. Border secured, inflation stopped, prices are down, country is back, future's brighter than we've ever seen. And then he also said he's given $1,776 to our military armed forces. Now, of all the people that could use that money, I don't think there's many people that could use it more. But my worry is that that, along with a $1,000 to $2,000 supposed We don't know yet. Check coming with our taxes or relief and all that, you could see things get kind of rough on the tax front, if you will. We shall see. The United States has notified EU countries it would like to use frozen Russian assets as part of a Ukrainian crisis settlement and joint U.S.-Russian investment vehicle. United States and Russian officials are expected to meet in Miami this weekend to discuss Ukraine. Wyckoff and Kushner are expected to represent the U.S. side. Israel has claimed possibility that Iran involved in murder of MIT nuclear scientist in Boston. The assessment has not yet been verified and is not supported at this stage by official findings. FBI Deputy Director Dan Bongino is planning to leave his position early this next year in 2026, January. Carolyn Ellison was quietly moved from federal prison to community confinement after serving 11 months of her 2-year sentence with online prison records listing an early release for February 2026. She had to do with the Sam Altman thing, the crypto thing. Someone else, if you want to put it into the chat or the comments, what exactly she was a part of. She basically was defrauding people. She was part of a network that was. Trump announces that 1.45 million U.S. members of the military will receive a special warrior dividend of $1,776 before Christmas. A plaque beneath Barack Obama's portrait at the White House describes him as, quote, one of the most divisive political figures in American history, end quote. The United States Senate has given final approval to the $900 billion National Defense Authorization Act, which will send hundreds of millions more in funding to Israel and Ukraine and other places. Not just those two. It'll be sent and spent all over. Tonight I did a PrepperNow video, and the final story I did, I like to do different stories. Next year, we're basically, we just spent $970 billion on our interest. So we're almost to $1 trillion in interest, which will outweigh everything, even from defense to other stuff. So the weight of our debt is really starting to hit us. San Francisco Board of Supervisors has passed a measure to create a fund aimed at providing reparations for black residents. New York Governor Kathy Hochul says she will sign legislation allowing terminally ill New Yorkers to unalive themselves legally. Multiple F-22 Raptor fighter jets have taken off from Langley Air Force Base in Virginia. There's a lot of activity going on in Southcom. Chadian media reports of an attempted coup against President Deby. I guess it's today's coup in North Central Africa. State media reports that the coup attempt failed. Deby still firmly in control of the country. Heightened security can be seen throughout N'Djamena. White House Deputy Chief of Staff for Policy, American sweat, ingenuity, and toil created the oil industry in Venezuela. Its tyrannical expropriation was the largest recorded theft of American wealth and property. These pillaged assets were then used to fund terrorism and flood our streets with killers, mercenaries, and drugs. Reports of U.S. Air Force personnel deploying to Ecuador's Manta Air Base for anti-drug cartel operations. However, no credible sources confirm any such deployment as of December 17, 2025. Ecuadorian voters rejected a November 2025 referendum proposal to lift the constitutional ban on foreign military bases. The U.S. Embassy in Quito has not announced any temporary joint operation involving Air Force personnel at Manta. Ecuadorian President Daniel Noboa on X says that with the backing of the United States, we activated a temporary operation alongside the Ecuadorian Air Force in Manta as part of a long-term bilateral security strategy. This operation will enable the identification and dismantling of drug trafficking routes and the submission of those who believed they could take over the country. African leader called Emmanuel Macron this Sunday in a panic, believing France was undergoing a coup d'etat. In reality, the African leader had seen an AI video of a fake reporter claiming the Élysée had been seized by an armed group led by a colonel. Emmanuel Macron told his story to medias today, keeping the African caller anonymous, but to emphasize the dangers of fake news online. The French president added, "It had me laugh, or made us laugh, 12 million views," and formally asked Facebook to take down the video. You should ask him to just take down Facebook. Senate has confirmed Jared Isaacman to run NASA in a 67-30 vote. Isaacman highlighted 3 objectives: human space exploration of the moon, Mars and deep space, unlocking a larger space economy, and becoming a force multiplier for science missions, tapping into partnerships with commercial companies and academia to bring down costs. Strange is coming right now. It's not like we don't have an unidentified object, which nobody can explain, passing by us, also known as Three-Eye Atlas. President Trump on Venezuela says getting land, oil rights, whatever we had, they took it away because we had a president that maybe wasn't watching. But they're not going to do that. We want it back. They took our oil rights. We had a lot of oil there. They threw our companies out, and we want it back. United States, Russia to hold talks on Ukraine war in Miami this weekend. Delegation from Russia is expected to include head of Russia's sovereign wealth fund, Kirill Dmitriev. According to one of the people familiar with the matter, both people were granted anonymity to discuss plans for the next rounds of sensitive talks. Trump administration special envoy Steve Witkoff and Trump's son-in-law, Jared Kushner, are expected to represent the U.S. side. European leaders have spent much of the past 2 weeks huddling to try and iron out specific plans for security guarantees for Kiev, including a demilitarized zone along the current front lines and troop pledges for training Ukrainian forces and monitoring any ceasefire. One European official, also granted anonymity to discuss sensitive diplomacy, said that the coalition troops would likely be tasked with the operating aircraft and drones to survey the front lines, while some troops would be stationed in western Ukraine to help rebuild the Ukrainian forces, not to serve on the front line. Sure. 211 to 213, the House narrowly defeated Massachusetts Democratic Representative Jim McGovern's War Powers resolution to block unauthorized U.S. military action within a war against Venezuela without the approval of Congress. Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro says, "We cannot fail the Venezuelan people. We can never fail them. We will defend these people because these people have a right to their land, their wealth, and their homeland, as always." Sure. USA blockade Armana, according to Ian Ellis, says U.S. Navy surface combatants in the Caribbean Sea, or SOUTHCOM AOR, at least 14 U.S. Navy ships, excluding subs, are now operating in the U.S. Southern Command Area of Responsibility, or AOR. Putin says that after the Soviet Union collapsed, we believed we would quickly join the civilized Western world. Today, it seems, though, there is no civilization there, only degradation. Trump on Venezuela says, "We want Venezuela to give us the oil. It's a blockade. It's not going to get anybody going through that. Shouldn't be going through. They took all of our oil. They illegally took it. We want it back." American media outlets reported overnight that Professor Nuno Loureiro, a Jewish nuclear scientist and a well-known supporter of Israel from MIT, was murdered by close-range gunfire at his home in Brookline on December 15th. Nuno was a world-renowned scientist in the fields of nuclear fusion and plasma physics. He worked on developing the holy grail of the nuclear energy world, creation of infinite clean energy with no environmental pollution, no carbon emissions, and no radioactive waste, and achieved remarkable accomplishments in the field. Attached documentation includes a sign that was allegedly placed at his home indicating his support for Israel, as well as a photograph of him with Rafael Grossi, Director General of the International Atomic Energy Agency. Qatari Prime Minister admitted in an interview that the Israeli strike in Doha was a game changer, a decisive move that catalyzed the deal, leading to the release of 20 living hostages and most of the bodies of those who were murdered. Avner's Bakery, popular Jewish bagel shop in Sydney, Surrey Hills, is preparing to close its doors, citing sustained anti-Semitic harassment and escalating safety concerns following the recent violence in Bondi. John Bolton says that Trump thinks Putin is his friend and believes if he has a good relationship with Putin, then U.S.-Russia relations are good. That's a huge oversimplification. Putin doesn't think Trump is his friend. He sees him as someone he can manipulate with his KGB training. Dun, dun, dun. Turkey seeks to return the S-400 defense systems it bought from Russia. It's a move aimed at boosting ties to the United States. YouTube has won the rights to stream the Oscars after decades of being a broadcaster network TV. Ceremony will be available live for free on the platform beginning in 2029. Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences said Wednesday. The move marks ABC's 50-year run as the Academy Awards exclusive broadcaster. Deal also symbolizes streaming growing influence within the film industry. Thrilled to enter into the multifaceted global partnership with YouTube to be a future home of the Oscars and one year-round Academy programming, statement said. PayPal submits application to become a United States bank. Treasury Secretary Bessent says individuals may receive a $1,000 or $2,000 tax refund in Q1 2026. Oracle stock, Oracle, falls another 5% today and is now 50% from its record high seen in September 10th. Cost of protection against default on Oracle's debt is at its highest level since 2009. Credit default swaps spreads in Oracle's debt have surged above 150 BPS. Investors are selling the stock over concerns around the company's ability to deliver on recently announced data center build-outs. And you can't make this one up. Bitcoin just surged $3,000 in an hour, reclaimed $90,000 as $120 million worth of leveraged shorts were liquidated. Minutes later, $200 million worth of levered longs were liquidated, with Bitcoin now down to $86,000. That's a $140 billion swing. Mind-boggling. NASDAQ 100 extends its decline to over 1.7% on the day amid growing concerns around Oracle's debt. AI as a bubble crowd has returned, but we have continued to view this as near-term volatility and a broader move higher. U.S. oil prices are in free fall. WTI crude prices are on track for the fifth consecutive monthly decline. That's the longest streak in 10 years. Over this period, oil prices have fallen 19%, trading at their lowest level since February 2021. Since the 1980s, the only longer period was right then. Market anxiety around the Venezuela situation is rising. Last night, President Trump ordered a complete blockade of all sanctioned oil tankers going in and out of Venezuela. It came hours after President Trump said he was giving an address to the nation, to which he already has. President Trump says American families will save between $11,000 and $20,000 on taxes in 2026. Okay. U.S. forces have launched another strike on a narco boat. 4 narco terrorists were killed. There appears to be unusually high demand at pizza shops near the Pentagon tonight. And the U.S. Navy Boeing FA-18E Super Hornet is flying very close to Caracas, capital is now far into the Venezuelan EEZ and near the coast of La Guaira. That's your crisis report, friends. Brought to you by Augusta Precious Metals. Hopefully you'd like to click. Yep, hit that heart, get that numbers up, the engagement, and everything else. We love having you here. You can find a full transcript of this on Substack. And we are on Xmind, Twitter, Gab, all those places. And we would love to have you again. So keep doing the things. God bless you all. And we will see you on the next one. Have a great night.